Hey guys, Fred and Sheila McCoy, Hatfield McCoy Museum. We're been painting a little bit, so my eyes are running. That paint downstairs is burning my eyes. Going to go over a story somebody sent us. Been getting a lot of stories. I don't know if we'll be able to respond to all of them or not, to be honest. We're just about overwhelmed. Can't keep up. This story here that this person sent was evidently dated September the 30th, 2013. I'm surprised we haven't seen it, or may have and overlooked it. I don't know. Hatfield McCoy Feud, Sam McCoy by J. Shepard. And evidently this story here is in the Pike County Tourism. I believe is where they got it from, and there's a J. Shepard that does or did work there, does work there, I don't know, but I know I talked to a reporter years ago with Washington Post, and he had taken the tour, and he had gotten some of his information while on that tour, and I could be mistaken, but I'm thinking it's either J. Shepard or Tackett. I don't know, but anyway, they had given him a story. The same story Rio Hatfield was telling everybody about Hubert Bay McCoy, about his grandfather being shot in the back 3 times. That's the same story they told on that bus tour and on this to this Washington Post, or at least he was a writer. I think he ended up publishing that story in the Washington Post. Maybe he sold it to him. I don't know. We've got it here somewhere. In fact, I think it's in our Hubert Bay McCoy book. We have no books for sale, but I think it's in that book, and also messages from me and him. This story here is titled Sam McCoy, and I've just got some stuff highlighted. I'm not going to be in no hurry going over it, but I just want to show you how frustrating it is, and how people get their stories, and how rumors fly, and how people misconceive and misconstrued and misevaluated the wrong people. Big Sam, or Squirrel Hunting Sam McCoy, played a key role in the escalation of the violence in the Hatfield McCoy feud. Says he played a key role in it. The only role that Sam McCoy ever had as far as escalating anything, I don't think it escalated. I think it was just a follow-up, but Sam McCoy's the one that actually killed Bill Staten. That was a couple of years after the pig trial. I don't think Bill Staten, according to history, got along with a lot of people back home, or in West Virginia or Kentucky. He was an arrogant fella and just hard to get along with. But anyway, he had shot Paris. In return, they were out hunting, and in turn, Sam shot and killed Bill Staten. Now, this guy, I'm not going to read everything here, but it says locals also found Sam to be peculiar, neglecting his chores and family duties in favor of long hours of hunting. I don't know. Legend has it. That's called a clue right there. Legend has it that while Randolph McCoy would threaten the Hatfields for their thieving ways, it was some of his sons and nephews. That's what this man's wrote out here. Legend has it. I've never heard that legend. I've never heard the legend where Randall McCoy accused his nephews or his sons of stealing his pigs. And we're talking about West Virginia Hatfields here, not Kentucky Hatfields, because Kentucky Hatfields, there were no better people than Preacher Ants Hatfield, George Hatfield, Floyd Hatfield. No better people in that region than the Kentucky Hatfields. But legend has it. So he wrote that into history for all to see this, and then all of a sudden they think that Randall McCoy's sons or his nephews was the thieves. anything that the Hatfields done, West Virginia Hatfields, it's always been turned around. I don't care what it is. Paris was arrested within a month, but Sam evaded capture for 2 years. They're talking about whenever Bill Staten was killed. Sam didn't evade arrest for 2 years. You know, first of all, let's go here, because Sheila and I are big on evidence. We're big on tangible, physical evidence you can hold in your hand, court documents. You know, there's never been a court document. There's not even been an arrest warrant ever produced against Paris McCoy or Sam McCoy. Not even an arrest warrant, much less a trial. Now, he goes on down here to say that they stood trial. In what turned out to be a bizarre twist, by today's standards, Sam and Paris were found not guilty on the grounds of self-defense, despite the testimony of McCoys from both sides of the tug against them. Guys, if you're familiar with the Feud, you're going to love this, and if you're not, you know, you shouldn't be watching this video, because this is Hatfield McCoy stuff. Were found not guilty of grounds of self-defense, despite testimony of McCoys from both sides of the tug against them. What trial? What trial? That case never went to trial. The folklore, the history of it is that Walt Hatfield, the judge in West Virginia at the time, brought Sam and Paris in. Randall McCoy supposedly took them to his office, to Walt Hatfield's office. They told Walt Hatfield what had happened, showed him where Paris had been shot by Bill Staten, and Walt Hatfield deemed there was not enough evidence to file charges. It was self-defense. He believed them. You're going to hear some more stuff here in a minute, garbage, but Walt believed what they said. Walt knew Bill Staten. He knew his personality, his attitude, his drunkenness. He knew that. McCoys on both sides of the river for testimony. He disregarded, in despite of the testimony from McCoys on both sides. What testimony? There was nobody out there except Bill Staten, Sam, and Paris. What testimony? Do you see how things get wrote into history? If you're just casually reading that, somebody that don't know anything about anything, you're just reading this story, you say, well, despite the testimony from the other McCoys, they still found him not guilty. What testimony? Nobody else was there but the three of them. One of them's dead. Wrote into history by a Pike County tourism employee. And you guys wonder why I have no faith in Kentucky tourism, and especially Pike County. I know, I see her. You hear her clear her throat. I know all the signals. But you know, the truth's the truth, and I don't want to badmouth, and she's made me, I ain't gonna say she made me, anybody knows me and my personality knows I'm not made to do a whole lot. She's persuaded me to be less passionate.
I gently persuade you.
To be less passionate.
Right.
Because I get headaches when I get real passionate.
You do. You get really bad headaches.
Legend claims that Devilance Hatfield instigated their release as a gesture of peace to the McCoy clan. Such a gesture is logical, as Devilance had too much on his mind concerning his logging business to fool with a feud. Now guys, this is a Pike County tourism representative. Represents Pike County. Who was from Pike County? Randall McCoy, Sarah McCoy, the 6 McCoys that were killed, that they run a bus to show you. In fact, they filed a lawsuit, or Ron McCoy did, wanting to take a bus up to show you the graves, but they run a bus to the well, they run a bus to the pawpaw trees, they run a bus here and there, run a bus everywhere. That's almost a rhyme.
Sounds like Dr. Seuss.
Sheila can use that in her kindergarten class.
Yeah. Dr. Seuss book.
You know, isn't it funny that they run a bus and they charge people to go on these tours? And they tell them the history, fake history, as Donald Trump would say, fake history, because that's what it is. It's fake. I don't care who says it. It's fake. And it's not correct. But they get by with it by saying, legend has it. I heard this, I heard that. It was wrote here, it was said there. That's how they get by with it. Not true. But all they want is something to stand up there for that dime and let them sit there and have something they can talk about in that microphone, or ever how they do it. Legend has it that Devilance got Wall to release them as a sign of peace. And it was logical. He says it was logical because Devilance had too much on his mind concerning logging business to fool with a feud. See, Devilance had too much on his mind, probably wondering where he's going to steal his next bunch of timber from, whose property he was going to cut the next load of timber from. I know, I see her, but let me explain to you what I'm saying. Check the court records. You know, we say we like tangible. We say we like documentation. Check the court records. I'd have to go downstairs and it's painted down there. I can't. There's court cases where co-companies were individuals, really, but they ended up dropping their suits. I wonder why. Maybe threats? You know, intimidation? Oh, probably not. That'd probably just be a legend. That'd probably be. But co-companies filed suit against Devilance because he stole timber from them. He cut their timber and sold it. And then he acted like, oh, I thought that was my property. I thought I owned that. And they sued him. And they won. That's lawsuits. There's no lawsuit against Perry Klein and Randall McCoy against Devilance. But there are lawsuits against coal companies that you can produce. They can talk all these other lawsuits into history all they want. They can talk them and say Devilance won 5,000 acres. Devilance, you know, to this day, you've never seen. Wouldn't that be something you'd prove Fred McCoy wrong on? Show this lawsuit. Here's 5,000 acres awarded to Devilance Hatfield from Perry Klein. It's all over. They've spoken for years. It's never been produced. Same with his rank. Same with his so many other documents. The receipt for his monument. The receipt with a date on it. Let's go on with this. Devilance symbol of goodwill, however, fell on deaf ears as far as Randolph McCoy was concerned, as he would scoff at the Hatfields until his last days. This is your Pike County Tourism representative. Devilance Hatfield, symbol of good gesture, went on deaf ears because old Randall McCoy, till his last days, he scoffed at him. I don't know if this Jay Shepherd has any children. I don't know if he's got any children or not. Imagine losing one of his children to somebody. You know, I've worked as a police officer. I've worked thousands and thousands in 40 years of car wrecks. I've worked car wrecks where people's family, one wife, husband had been killed by a drunk driver. Drunk driver killed him accidentally. He was drunk intentionally, and he drove intentionally, but he didn't set out to kill nobody, but he did. And the family would come to court and they would never, even when the guy's convicted to jail or prison, never ever forgive him for one child in an accident. An accident wasn't planned. An accident, an event that's not planned. An occurrence that's not planned. It just happens through negligence, through whatever, carelessness, but it's not planned. Murder? Let's tie these three boys up, strip them down naked, and 20 of us, at least 20 of us, shoot them dead. Blow their heads off. Let's do that. Let's go set fire to that cabin. Let's kill two more. Let's kill a daughter, a female. Let's shoot his son in the back of the head. And let's beat the shit out of his wife. And leave her for dead. Leave her for dead. They thought they killed her. It didn't matter to them. They thought she was dead. And she did die a year or so later from the injuries. But this Kentucky Pike County tourism guy, Randolph McCoy, was considered, fell on deaf ears, and he would scuff at Hatfield until the last days. Would you? 6 of your children, your wife, you lost your granddaughter, not cause of the feud, but in the feud. Lost your other daughter, Roseanne, she died, all related. He'd scuff at them. Didn't want nothing to do with Devilance. Devilance, he needed to get on with minding his timber business. This man, you know, it's funny that they take these people around, they show them these tours. One of the first stops they make is up on the graveyard, Deal Cemetery, and they show them Randall McCoy's grave and Sarah's grave, where they couldn't even spell the name right. They couldn't even spell. Now that's something Fred McCoy would do, because my grammar, English, spelling, I'm a wreck.
Country boy.
Huh?
Country boy.
I'm a wreck. I goofed off a lot in school, unless it was something I enjoyed. And I enjoyed writing a book report on the Hatfields and McCoys in the 5th grade. And I'm still writing on it today. Something you enjoy, you get into. Killed 6 of his kids, but he scuffed. What I was going to say is, you know, they show him the graveyard. They take him around and show him Randall McCoy's last house. Big old, one of the biggest houses in Pikeville.
It's nice, yeah.
One of the biggest houses in Pikeville. It's now a restaurant. If you ever go there and eat, Cherico's. Great food. But besides that, while you're waiting on your food, take the tour. It's free. They don't even charge you to go all through Randall McCoy's house upstairs and look around. How great is that?
And you see part of the natural wood that was there, though.
You see everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
they've got opened up a
amazing.
closet, and you see the original.
It's amazing.
But they charge people for this for them to take you out and show you Randall McCoy's property, his grave, all this stuff. But Devilance is the man. West Virginia, Hatfield, that was a murderer, a coward, a deserter. Pike County tourism. But they don't need Bill Richardson over in West Virginia working for West Virginia tourism. Man, they should send that money to Pikeville tourism, because they promote Devilance like he was from Kentucky. It's the most incredible. All right. Sam later wrote about his experiences with the feud, claiming that Ellison Hatfield and his family were good to him. Hell yeah, they were. They were all friends at one time. They were all, you can throw a rock across the river. They were all friends at one time. Randall McCoy, Devilance, all of them, before the Civil War. Randall McCoy was 14 years older than Devilance Hatfield. Devilance Hatfield, on his emancipation downstairs, was 25 years old, so he would have been 21 years old when the Civil War started, before he deserted. Like I said, he's barely there long enough to get a uniform if he got one. Deserted within 6 months, went in fall of 62, deserted in February of 63. I know it'll be a long one, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, It's all good. It's all good, no worries.
Yeah, I got off topic there, so I'll move on. Sam later wrote about his experience. Of course they were friends. Ellison Hatfield, they were all sitting there drinking moonshine on election day. Ellison had no business there. He's from West Virginia. Devilance had no business there. He's from West Virginia. But they were there. They were drinking moonshine when Bad Lice and Tolbert McCoy got in a fight over the fiddle and the money. Ellison had no business putting his nose in it, but he did. He stood up and said, "Try that on me." And it was on. We know how that ended. But they were friends at one time. Had they not been moonshining that day and drinking, they'd probably still been friends. Anybody, does that. Go out today and drink you a pint of that moonshine over in Popcorn Sutton's display case. We've got a collection from Popcorn Sutton here of different things from Dennis Sutton. Drink some of that moonshine over and put two people together and let them drink a jar of that moonshine. By the end of the day, let's see what happens. You know what's going to happen. There's going to be a fight breakout. Sam was later said to have blamed the McCoys for the feud. Really? Really? This is your tourism representative. Your tourism representative saying this. Sam was later said to have said, a legend. He spoke it into history. Given all of this, Sam's contribution to inflaming the violence of the feud is undeniable. Sam would later relocate to Missouri after his home was surrounded and riddled with bullets. I'd like to see that newspaper article. I'd like to have that in here because surely when Sam moved to Missouri and that somebody riddled his, no doubt Hatfield, West Virginia Hatfields, no doubt it was West Virginia Hatfields, and they riddled his house with bullets. No doubt that made the newspaper. I'd like to have that. We've never found that article, Sheila.
No.
We've never, thousands and thousands and thousands of articles, and I have never seen that article. Jay Shepard, be nice of you to produce that. Be nice of you to produce that article. I hope that's in the Pike County Tourism. Maybe we'll stop by there and look at that one day. I'd like to get a picture of that. His home was riddled with bullets.
What?
His past caught up with him. And the story serves as a reminder how simple a dispute can spiral out of control. It can be printed and other people read them and believe them. And people with accountability. People with accountability. You know, I've always held police officers to a higher standard because I've always held ministers to a higher standard. We're supposed to be better. We're supposed to act in a different manner. We're supposed to be an example. You got a Pike County Tourism that's spreading more shit than you could pile into a... Information for this article was gathered from Feud, Hatfield's, McCoys, and Social Change in Appalachia, Altina Waller, as well as Everett Johnson, curator of the Big Sandy Heritage Center. Guys, I got news for you. You just read a bunch of bullshit. You just heard, and I didn't read the entire story. Everett who sent it to me, like I said, it's supposed to be on the Pike County Tourism site. Wow. I got the front page to it. That's sad. Now, and some of you don't understand, and I know you get tired of listening. Well, you probably don't because you're still listening. The ones of you that keep coming back, or the ones of you that keep texting. And I got a story here right before we come in here to do this. I'll cover it next. You'll see a story come up here in a minute. Somebody sent me. So people are paying attention. They want things corrected, or at least they want mine and Sheila's take on it. And if we don't have it, we get stuff all the time that we don't have a take on, or we don't know the answer to, or it would be hypothetical if we gave an answer. And we usually don't even do that, but if we do, we'll tell you it's hypothetical, it's this, it's that. You know, I made a video the other day of people posting my great-great-grandparents' tombstones, or the title, and then having pictures of somebody else. Sheila and I was sent a thing a couple weeks ago on Randall McCoy's picture. We didn't say, this is Randall McCoy. We said, is this Randall McCoy, Matt Hatfield, or someone else? We don't know who it is. We don't just come out and say this is somebody or that's somebody without knowing it. Guys, Fred and Sheila McCoy, if you're ever in Pike County, Kentucky, and you get ready to stop by Pike County Tourism, don't. That'd be my advice to you. Don't. They want your money. They want to sell you books, t-shirts. They want to sell you anything they can get a cut on. I'm going to cover a story here in a minute on Jimmy Wolford. Let me have it. Guys, this is just going to be an add-on to the back of the video in response to Jay Shepherd or Kentucky Tourism's comments that they did in a story. This right here is Sam McCoy's book. Now, what you got to understand is Sam McCoy wrote or kept some notes on the Feud. Later on, those notes were turned into a book. So everything that was written may not have came from Sam McCoy.
Okay.
But right here on page 7, it says, by Sam McCoy, it says, the first trouble originated at the time of the Civil War. Again, it goes back to the Civil War. And that is when Devilance Hatfield deserted. I'm not going to go into it. I'm just going to say that's where it originated at, even by Sam McCoy's accounts. They killed Uncle Harmon McCoy at the close of the war. The war was over as far as Asa Harmon. He'd been sent home. It was a big snow. They followed the snow. Footprints to the snow. He says that Ance Hatfield and Jim Vance from Logan County, West Virginia. I don't remember just how many, but there was 5 or 6 more men that was with them from West Virginia. Hatfield and Jim Vance, he says that Asa Harmon run through the woods when he saw them coming. You know, there's also the story where he come out of the cave to take a leak, and they shot him. They assassinated him. He says that he saw him coming, he took off trying to run through the woods. Remember, he had a bullet in his leg. He'd been shot in the war, again, in the hip. And he says he had to sit down on a log. And when he sat down, that Jim Vance, Hatfield and Jim Vance told him they would not hurt him. He sat down on the log, and they came upon him and killed him. Now, you know, some people say, oh, Devilance wasn't there. Devilance was homesick. Must have been Jim Vance that killed him. Well, this gentleman here takes so much interest in what Sam McCoy did or Sam McCoy said, or this is Sam McCoy talking here, and he says Devilance was there. Devilance helped kill Asa Harmon. Says here, old Jim Vance, who led the mob on Randolph McCoy's home, mentioned in preceding chapters, Uncle Harmon was found in a cave. He says that Jim Vance led the mob on Uncle Randall's cabin when they burned it. Trouble was over the hogs. You know, there was one author that wrote a while back that said there was never a hog trial. There was never a problem over a hog. That was made up. Well, that's on page 8 of this book. And that's the memoirs of Sam McCoy. I'm not going to go through this whole book. I'm not going to do it. Talks here about Hence Scott and John Scott. McCoy's proved that the hogs to be his by 2 or 3 of the neighbors. You know, it says here under Sam's testimony, and we've heard that over the years, and nobody has ever seen any court documentation, which is what Sheila and I go by. Nobody's ever seen the pig trial, but we all say, well, the Hatfields won it because of Selkirk. But Sam McCoy says that Randall McCoy won the pig trial because the neighbors had come in there and identified his pigs, that they were his. And there's Scott's once again, Hence and John Scott. And of course, you know, we done a video a while back on the Scotts and their relationship, the Pike County Scotts, and their relationship to Charles Manson goes right up. So that, again, that's where that relation comes from. John C. Hatfield was indicted. Tolbert McCoy arrested him, along with Jim McCoy. Guys, I'm not, sometime in August, the election was held. I'm supposed both parties had whiskey on them. At any rate, Ellis and Hatfield. Now this gentleman here says, somewhere in the story, in the back, I don't remember it exactly, but he says that Ellis and Hatfield was friends with Sam McCoy or something like that. Well, here's Sam McCoy, and he says, at any rate, Ellis and Hatfield, much of a man hollered out, he were the best GD man on earth. Said it over 3 times, right in the presence of Tolbert McCoy, Randolph McCoy's son. And again, that's after Tolbert and Bad Elias had got through fighting over the fiddle. And again, Bad Elias was from Kentucky. Tolbert was from Kentucky. They lived right there at each other. Ellis and Hatfield and Elias, Good Elias and Devilance and Wall Hatfield, they had come across the river to West Virginia during the Kentucky election. What's that all about? I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but Hatfield straightened up and hollered. He was going to hit him in the head with a rock. He'd pulled his knife, and his knife had closed on him, and he was going to hit Tolbert in the head with a rock, and that's when the boys come up. And guys, the story's all through here. We've done a video on Sam McCoy before, but it's so easy for people to go out here and people get mixed up. You know, just so much. There's Sam McCoy's writings from his book. There's his actual writings, page 1, 2, 3 of his memoirs. Now, he didn't write a book. He wrote the memoirs. It wasn't till later on that somebody came by and they said that they had the memoirs and they was going to go along and add their touch to it. So when you read something, you got to make sure it's coming from the person that you're reading it from. Now listen, I'm not saying Sheila and I can't make mistakes. We say this in practically every video that we make. We're not beyond making mistakes, but if we make them, they won't be intentional.
That's right.
We're not trying to mislead anybody. We made a mistake. But when you listen to Pike County Tourism, it's like they're on a mission to promote West Virginia. They're on a mission to promote Devilance Hatfield and his murdering gang at the time. Like they're supposed to be memorialized. We had victims here.
Yeah. Yep.
Pike County had victims. The McCoys were the victims of the West Virginia Hatfields and McCoys. Let me have you. I don't think you probably done a closing,
I've
but
done a closing. But hi guys, hope you're having a great evening. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Here's the cabin room. We done a video on this before. This is just another room in the museum showing the way it was back in the day, and the old bread, the old canned vegetables and fruit, rocking chairs, the one-room cabin more or less, the old fireplace, the old kettle over the stove. Of course, everybody had a gun hanging over the mantle. That's why you didn't see these random shootings. That's why you didn't see these, what they called active. That's why you didn't see these active shooters back then. Everybody could have become an active shooter. Somewhere along the way, we gave up our rights. We gave up our common sense that says, hey, everybody else has got guns. I better carry a gun. And that's where we've gone wrong. That's Fred's opinion. Of course, we all
That's okay.
entitled to our opinion.
That's right. This is America.
Sheila's
So
going
far.
to close this out. I'm hoping and praying that someday the Pike County Tourism will realize what they've done and come to their senses and say, hey, we need to quit letting West Virginia Hatfields rule the Kentucky Tourism Department. Anyway, my thoughts.